And I have an answer for Celeste next question
Perfect.
when we get to it. The Just
Yeah,
a suggestion.
let's go ahead.
Celeste said, "Would you discourage indie pub if the writer isn't a good business person?" Um, Celeste, what I would do first, if you believe that you have a good story and that this is um, something that you want to try. There are some great writers groups. There's one in particular on Facebook. It's called 20 Books to 50K. And
Do they change their name now?
I think the Facebook group is
Author
still the same
is
though.
it? Okay, it's Author Nation is their, like, group
Is their
name
con?
now.
Yeah. Anyway, the whole theory was Michael Anderle, the guy that founded it, said that he wanted to retire to Mexico, and he said, "I want to be a writer. How much money would I need to make a year to do that?" And he came up with the figure of 50K. And he said, "How many books would I have to write and publish to make 50K?" And he figured, by whatever math, that it was 20 books, and that if he had 20 books always in rotation, that he could make 50K a year, so he could retire to Mexico. That's where the funky name comes from. But that is a gathering place. That's one of the biggest communities of indie writers that I know of. I've been a member for uh, since shortly after they founded. Michael and Craig Martell, the two guys that run it, are good friends of mine, and you can get lots and lots of great advice. You can get networking, get connected with editors and with cover designers, and there's always people in there talking about the latest trends and what's hot, what's not, what things they're working on, and they share success stories, and it's an amazing group. And there are 3 or 4 other groups like that that I just can't call the name of off the top of my head, but 20 books to 50K is a great place to start. Get in there, join the group, just kind of start reading some of the threads and just see, because most of the people in there are not savvy business people, but
Mhm.
they're writers who cared enough about their stories and wanting to share them, that they learned how to be good business people. And they're people from all over the spectrum, from brand new beginners to very successful people making 6 figures or better a year.
Mhm.
And they're, generous with their time. So
Yeah.
find a community like that. Go investigate. See if you may think you're not a good business person and you don't have the skills, but they might be skills that you can acquire. And
Yeah.
it's definitely worth looking into.
I would argue that anybody, unless with, like, extreme exceptions, anybody can learn how to be a good business person in terms of indie publishing, because the pure breadth of indie publishers that are out there that are successful, both from just a readership point of view and an income point of view, they span from stay-at-home moms to professors, right? And
Yes.
I'm not saying those are on different levels, but I'm just thinking about
There's different places
education
in
that people
life.
have, where you are in your life, where you spend most of your day. Like, there is no shortage of individuals who have found success as indie authors, and that doesn't mean that they learned it all before they published their first book,
Right.
right? I don't want anyone here to hear this and think, okay, I can't hit publish until I've mastered every single thing there is, because that's just not going to happen. The industry
Yeah.
changes, so you're never going to catch up to everything. But also, get that book out there, start establishing some readership, and then you can apply principles back to it, to market it better, or it can become part of your backlog or your back catalog as you write more. Um, there's there is no reason you can't figure out this business if you put the time in.
Right. And I'll say this to kind of tag onto that. Um, Whether you decide to indie publish or traditionally publish, you will never regret learning more about the industry that you're working in. Because the things that you will learn from the indie publishers will only help you in your traditional publishing journey. I've hosted a podcast for 10 years where we interview authors. Indie authors, traditionally published authors, the whole spectrum. I've never discriminated, you know, uh, depending on how they chose to do it. But what happens for all of them is, even if you're traditionally published, you still have to get out there and hustle and
Mhm.
book podcasts to go on, find places to go talk about your book. The publisher is not going to do all of that for you. They will give you a leg up, and they will give you a team to work with, but it is still your job to sell your book. And
Yeah.
I think that's uh, something that people are disappointed with sometimes, when oh, the publisher's just going to do all this for me. They're going to do a lot for you, but there's still a
Not
big
everything.
portion that has to be done by you.